The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.
Alrighty, welcome everyone. We are so happy that you're joining us on the Habits of Health call tonight. And we are just excited for this time of year, which is school time. And the cool thing about these calls is that there's so many different types of people who are hopping on. People from different states in our country, people who, some of you might be in a weight loss phase, others of you might be in an optimization phase. We have health coaches who join us. We have clients who join us, our health professionals that we love, and also sometimes just people who are checking us out, people who are just seeing what Optavia is all about. So go ahead in the chat and chime in of where you're joining us from. And we just love to see all the different areas of the country when people are coming in. Oh, I see Baltimore, Klamath Falls, St. Louis, Missouri. We have some Louisiana, Seattle. So much fun. We're so glad that you're here. So I'm Amber Smithson, and I'm a certified health coach, and it's my pleasure to introduce our host for tonight, who is Chantel Flake, who is also a certified health coach. And she's going to be talking to us a little bit about habits for a healthy school year. Chantel, are you there?
I'm here, Amber. Thank you so much for the introduction. I am honored to be here to talk about this topic. I have been a health coach for 6 years now, and I have absolutely loved the Optavia community. I have to say that these webinars, the local events, people, just our Optavia community around us, it really has made the biggest difference in my health. I love this topic because I feel like the beginning of the school year is a natural transition. It's a natural change where we can draw attention to some of these new routines and habits that we have that are going to influence us for the better. So I just want to draw attention to some of those tonight. So here's a picture of my family. As you can see, my husband and I, we have 5 small children, and we are located in Mapleton, Utah. 4 of our children are attending school this year, and in fact, today was the very first day of preschool, so officially they're all in school now. Yay for mom. So excited about that. But I'll be honest with you, the end of the summer gets a little rough, where sometimes those bad habits do creep in, and we don't always pick the healthiest option. We get to bed a little bit too late, but I'm committing today. So I'm going to be committing with you. So I'm grateful for this opportunity to be on this, because sometimes the teacher learns more than the student, I found. So I have a question for you all. I want you guys to think about the first time you joined this community. So maybe your very first webinar, and maybe it's today. So welcome to all those, the very first timers here. But maybe you've been around for a couple years. So I want you to think about the first little bit that you joined this community. Think about your habits and your routines that you had at that point, okay? What kind of person were you? But more importantly, I want to talk about what change has happened since that time. So how have you changed? Let's get some ideas. I want to hear in the chat thread. How have you changed since you joined this Optavia community? And if today is your very first day, then tell me how you changed today. So let's hear some ideas in here, and then we'll kind of go over this positive outlook on life and challenges. You're skinnier and healthier, probably. Example, choosing better choices for lunch for your kids, confident while they're going fast. You guys have so many ideas. Drink more water. Okay, these are amazing. So this summer, we just returned from Dallas, Texas, where we had our Optavia National Convention. Who was there? If you were there, tell me you're there. because I saw so many of you. There were thousands of us that gathered in the Optavia community, and we had such a good time. So I had to take my picture next to this. I found this little display, or this little framed picture, and I had to take it because it's the new Optavia motto. It says, lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. I love this because this has actually been my personal motto for years. And as you guys joined our community, you really were never expected to make a million changes at once. I hope you know that. I hope you don't feel bad if you have to call your coach and tell them that you aren't perfect, because they aren't perfect either. None of us are perfect. So we're a bunch of imperfect people gathering together to want to get better. But this is really how the magic happens. So isn't that refreshing? Like, does that take a little bit of stress off you? So if you need to, just breathe in and out. Everybody, deep breath. It's a lifelong transformation, and we're going to do it one healthy habit at a time. So kudos for you for being on today, because that shows that you are well on your journey of doing that. So let's do something fun. I want to hear in the chat thread what you think, what's like looking past the past week. Tell me what was one healthy habit you really focused on this week to move yourself towards this lifelong transformation. So what's one thing that we can celebrate? And hopefully you're doing this with your family, with maybe your health coach. You're celebrating, you're looking at these wins every day. Sleeping more regularly, healthy water, healthy mind, exercise routine, exercise with friends, making lunch, consistent water. Good. You guys, these are amazing. I'm excited for all of these changes that you're making. So I want to introduce my dear friend, Lori. So I've had the opportunity to witness Lori's transformation. As you can see, her picture is amazing. She really, to me, she exemplifies what a lifelong transformation is. One healthy habit at a time. So I want her to come on and just share a little bit about her journey as her health journey.
Hi, Chantel and Amber. Thanks for having me on. I was really excited when you asked me, because these Habits of Health calls have been so key in my transformation and helping me stay on track. And I agree with you. The beginning of the school year really is a great time to reflect and to make comparisons. You know, we're starting to get those pictures of our kids on Facebook from a year ago, and seeing the massive changes just in their growth. And it's really made me think about my personal change this past year. Food has always been a struggle for me. It's always been an addiction, really. Our family grew up with food being the center of attention at all family functions. And so I've struggled with my weight lifelong as a result. And in college, I joined this big fad diet, and I lost a bunch of weight, but it was incredibly unhealthy, and it wasn't something that I could sustain, and not anything that I ever learned how to keep off. So eventually the weight came back on. I got married, I had kids, and just continued to pack on the weight. Then I had my third baby and noticed a number on the scale that I never imagined I would ever see. But really just was struggling to even care. I didn't feel good. I wasn't happy, but it was really hard to make any changes. And not too long after that, found out that I had celiac disease and Hashimoto's. And I just thought, oh my gosh, more food issues for me. And just really struggled. And not too long after that, I had a friend reach out and offer this plan for me, this program. And it has just been such an incredible change that it has created for my life and for my family. I've been able to lose almost 60 pounds. And because of that, I really feel like as moms, we set the tone for our families. And our husbands follow suit, and our kids follow suit when we make big changes. And so my husband started to lose weight, and he jumped on board and did this program. And my kids are teenagers now, and it's been so fun to watch them. My son is a football player, and he is very aware now of his nutrition and the changes that it makes for him in his football performance. And he also struggles with being able to focus in school. And he has noticed the change in his focus when he eats healthy. And, you know, I have another daughter who's a competition cheerleader. And it's been fun to watch my kids say, okay, Mom, I need a protein. And now I got to get a healthy grain. And so my kids now, they pack their own lunches, and they go through and they pack veggies and they pack protein, and they're noticing how much better they feel. They're noticing a change in their schoolwork, and it's fun to watch them. Their teachers call and say, your daughter taught me that I should be eating protein with carbs today, and tell me about that. So it's just, the changes in our family have been incredible. To be sleeping better, to be making better choices as a family for our dinners. We now have a fun tradition that we call Feast or Fail on Monday nights, and we try out new recipes, and my kids know that they have to try that lean and green meal, and then they all get to rate the meal. And that's been really fun. We do it with our neighbors. So just making it a big community effort to be healthy and really incorporating it into our family has just been incredible.
Thank you so much, Lori, for sharing that. Those are amazing ideas of really how we can involve our family in on this, because it's not just us, it's those around us, those, whatever our living situation is, whether we're the mother of a home, a father, whether we're a friend or a sister, roommates, or even the child, we really can set the tone, and it's contagious. So I appreciate all those ideas, Lori. And you know, this doesn't happen overnight. This is something that is consistent changes over time. This chart might look familiar to you if you've read the Dr. A's Habits of Health book. And I absolutely love this. This is motivation for me to think. It comes down to the daily action, what we do. So I want you to look on the left side of this chart where it's the dots start. Okay. So right there, those dots, that is you today. Okay. We're in the center. Every day we start new, right? So this is us today. And the black dots all the way up or down are reflective of our choices every single day that we make. And if you can even imagine, in between every single one of those black dots, there's even probably 100 little dots in between, because we make choices every single day, every single hour, every single minute, right? We are constantly making choices that can take us towards optimal health or towards being sick. So I just love this. Keep this in mind daily as we think about what direction are we headed with our health. It's not going to be one thing that makes a difference. Yeah, you know what? If we had a cheeseburger today, or if we didn't, it probably wouldn't affect us overall long term. If we stayed on plan today, or we didn't, it probably wouldn't affect us long term either way. But what is it? Day after day after day, those dots are going to add up, and that's going to really show us which way we're headed. So keep that in mind. It's all about the little things. So I want to start off with that. Okay, so let's go back. So take a look at this guy right here. That's nobody in this Zoom, right? We've never acted like this. This guy, what do you think of when you see this picture? This to me represents somebody who's reacting, right? This is somebody who doesn't really think about it. We've all been in this situation. It's our natural tendency to just react to our circumstances. And quite frankly, it's just mindless behavior. We don't even stop to think about it, right? Think back to a situation that you may have been in today. Maybe it's involving your children, guilty, your boss, spouse, whatever. Think back to how you handled this. Okay, so keep this in mind. Now look at this picture. This is much more calm, right? Conscious awareness. Did you take time in that situation to be conscious of what was going on in your mind, and to think through it? We call this stop, challenge, and choose, right? You guys have heard that before. That's in the Habits of Health book and workbook. So what option do you think is going to yield better results? That's kind of a no-brainer question, right? But today I want to focus on how we can move from reacting, the crazy guy, to putting in daily habits to coming to the awareness and creating those good habits so that it's naturally easy. I feel like the good news is that good habits are just as addicting as bad habits. So if we can just change them, they're going to stick. So let's dive right in. So I want to talk about being prepared. Actually, this is a good time for a poll. I want to poll. And the question of the poll, we're going to pull that up right here, is I want to know from you, what routines do you need most help with? Okay. The options are lunchbox ideas, sleep routines, workout routine, healthy dinner help, or preparing your day in advance. Okay, I want you just right off the bat, first thing that comes to mind, which one do you need most help with, most ideas from? And if you can put it in the chat thread, but it's helpful if you just check it right on your device so that I can see, and we can get a little percentage going. Okay. And Amber, will you hop in when those results come in and tell us what the results are?
Absolutely. Just looking at these while everyone's voting, I think that there's so many different things we can focus on. And so for me, it's almost like preparing my day in advance, like covers those other things sometimes.
Awesome. It really is. It is kind of one that embodies all of them if we can just prep in advance. And we're going to talk about that first. So as you're finishing up on this, let's talk about that, preparing your day in advance. They just came in.
Okay, so as far as what routines you need help most with, we have 9% who need help with lunchbox ideas, 13% is sleep routines, 21% workout routine. The highest here, 35% need help with healthy dinner help. And then 22% preparing my day in advance. So that's interesting.
Really interesting. Okay, healthy dinner help is the highest. Okay, thank you for taking the poll. The good news is, you guys, you don't have to pick because we're going over all of them. So the very first one, be prepared for your day. I love this quote. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Think back this morning or last night. Did you just kind of throw something together? Did you even know what your eating plan was going to be today? Do you know did you plan what you're going to have for dinner? Or if you haven't eaten yet, do you know what you're going to eat? Think about it. If you were taking a road trip, right? And you were headed on the road trip and you just said, well, I don't know where we want to go. Let's just get on the road and see how it goes, right? And you start taking roads. Where do you think you would end up? You might end up in a really boring city. You might end up in the Midwest or something. Just kidding. I'm from the West. So, but vice versa, if you were to get in that GPS and you were to calculate, I'm going to San Diego, California. That's where I wish I was. San Diego, California, and I'm going to the beach. You have this all planned out. What happens? In the GPS, what does it say? It says estimated time, how long it's going to take. It's going to warn you, traffic, all these things, right? You are well prepared. You know exactly what that's going to take. So think about your day today. Did you set your GPS? Did you know what your plan was today? Just a few ideas. Setting alarms to help you eat consistently every 2 to 3 hours. Super, super helpful. I have lots of my clients have found success in that. Until your body can naturally tell you. I feel like now, after 6 years of eating this way, I can naturally feel it. It's kind of like an internal alarm at this point, but it's helpful to get that down. Prepare your water goal and plan in advance. I have some clients that like to get water bottles and they line them up by their kitchen and they just go through them all. Or other people that put rubber bands on their water bottle and they will move them, and they know in advance how much water their goal is. Personally, for me, I shoot for 100 ounces. So whatever that is for you, know and plan towards that. Mental visualization, how the day went, is going to go. Do you take a few minutes just in the morning, maybe while you're in the shower, you're just waking up, close your eyes and just, what do you want to see happen? What's going to happen when you're at work and you pass that candy jar? Have you thought about another plan, or do you just mindlessly grab those M&Ms or something? So think about how you want it to go. And then, of course, this is a big one. Talk to your Optavia health coach about any upcoming events that you have. Maybe this weekend you have something going on big, or maybe last week in Labor Day, it was rough, right? Or talk to them about what you could do and what your hangups have been in the past, and some ideas on how to overcome that. Let's move on to healthy lunchbox ideas. A few of you wanted ideas on this. And this is just a quick ideas for those of you parents out there, or even some people, that want to pack their lunch for work, or, and this is mostly, these are the ideas that I have for my kids. And I think it's a great way to teach our kids healthy eating, because it's not just mom. It's, as we heard already, health is contagious. Our kids are going to want to follow suit. The people around us are going to want to. So I like to get 5 categories. I shoot for 5 categories with my kids: a grain, a protein, fruit or veggie, a drink, and a snack. So I tell them we make a sandwich together. Usually we do meat sandwiches, but also you can do like whole grain crackers dipped in hummus, pita bread, flatbread into Lunchables, tortilla made into pinwheel wrap, just a few ideas. With the protein, eggs are great, beans, meat and cheese, yogurt, nuts. With the fruit or veggie, obviously, there's so many options there. I like to have them already cut up for them. And even if you drizzle a little lemon juice over the apple slices to keep them from browning, the kids seem to like that a little bit better. There's always smoothies. You can even experiment with cutting it in fun shapes for them. And then with the drink, I personally love to just buy the water bottles from Costco, or, whatever, just the water bottles. And then I have them do like Mio drops in them. So it kind of takes away a lot of the sugar versus like a Capri Sun or a juice box or something. And it's actually a lot more juice than is in any kind of lunch box. And they always tell me how thirsty they are. So that helps with their water intake. And then of course, with a snack, I give them the option of grabbing a snack. And I love that that's only one of the categories versus sometimes, I know before I was really focusing on this, sometimes the lunch would often be half snacks. So we really talk about the snack in moderation. And getting the kids involved in making these, and also using lunchbox with compartments is also really helpful, or even thermoses I've heard some clients talk about.
And Chantel, someone in the chat said, what if my kids are picky? And one thing that I can say in answer to that is take them to the store with you and let them pick their own fruit or veggie that will go in there. It's amazing when they are the decision maker, how much more common it is that they'll actually eat it.
I love that, Amber. I've actually had a client that wanted to do our health plan, but said, I don't like vegetables at all. Like I can't eat any vegetables. And so I encouraged him to go with his wife to the store and look at all the hundreds of different veggies and just pick one. Just start with one. And it was so interesting. He picked about 3 and he said, well, I can do these 3. And eventually over time, he just stuck with those 3. And eventually over time, he was able to kind of widen that horizon, or widen how many options there were. So that's a great idea, is taking them to go pick it out at the store themselves. Love that. Let's go on to weeknight dinners, and even dinners in general. But I feel like weeknight dinners are always kind of the most stressful for me personally, but it's super important to me. It's really important to me that not only do we eat together as a family, which doesn't always happen, but I like it to happen at least a couple times a week. But it's important to me that it's lean and green, because that's what I'm eating. If I'm making something different for my kids, I'm more tempted to eat what they're eating. So everybody together, and eventually they kind of get the hang of it and they realize that they're not going to be getting dinner unless they eat that, right? If they don't eat it, I literally set aside in the refrigerator and that's what they can eat the rest of the night. And so anyway, we won't go into parenting tips or I'm going to get a lot of people in the chat thread with some different ideas. And Amber, if there's any more questions in the chat thread, go ahead and chime in. But really planning in advance. So what I do is for the week on Saturday, I will plan out my meals, what we're going to have for the whole week. I'll write it down on a piece of paper, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, exactly what we're going to be having. and that I go shopping for it all. So for me, that really helps with having a plan in advance so that it avoids that drive-through mentality of, oh, we forgot to thaw the meat. We got to go to Wendy's now, right? It's already there. And I try to think about it in the morning. So when I'm sending my kids off to school, I look in the freezer, take out that meat, try to prepare that morning of too. And the last tip is to make these meals simple. I remember my past way of cooking was like 4 different side dishes. And that is so complicated to me. I didn't want to cook. I kind of had anxiety about cooking. But when we really simplify it to just a lean and a green, that's 2 things. You only have to pick 2 different things a day to stick with. And it makes it just so simple. And and when we don't have a bunch of those other things, sometimes we even just appreciate the simplest things. I have clients that have called me over the years or just even recently that have said, I never knew how good chicken in a salad like this picture could taste, right? I'm just drooling over this picture right now because that just, to me, that looks so good. But if we aren't eating healthy, if we are having a lot of those extra side dishes like potatoes and cheese and all that, maybe this doesn't look as good. But what we crave, what we eat. So this is, hopefully that was some ideas for you for those weeknight dinners. Let's move on to healthy sleep tips. This is super, let's do our poll. We have a poll for this. So I want to know for you, how many hours of sleep do you get a night on average? Let's hear it. Be honest, guys. Don't round up. Just, round properly. 5 or more goes up, 4 or less goes down. So let's hear 5, less than 5, 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, or more than 8 hours.
I could definitely say that since being involved with Optavia over the years, I've definitely gotten better on sleep. I see the value of just that restorative time, and it just makes the biggest difference for me, even for my cravings or for the decisions that I make. Getting more sleep is so key.
Absolutely. Have you ever gone to bed and been super frustrated and had a problem and you don't quite know how to fix it, and then all of a sudden you go to sleep and wake up and you can't even hardly remember what the problem was anymore?
It's so true. Or I come up with solutions even while I'm sleeping, and then you wake up and you're so excited to tackle it,
Absolutely. I love that. Okay. Let's see the results.
Okay, so how many hours of sleep do you get per night on average? So we have 8% less than 5. Okay, that's pretty low. That's good. We have 36% get about 6 hours. And then our biggest group, 40%, get about 7 hours, 12%, 8 hours, and 5% more than 8. I would be in that category, more than 8.
Good job, Amber. You're in the 5%. Okay, this is interesting to me, Amber, because it looks like, and I'm not great at math, but about 80% of people are getting 7 hours or less. So depending on, what your body needs, I know personally for me, I do need 8 hours. So if I get 7 hours, I don't feel at my best. So it looks like 80% of people are in that category. So that's interesting. Thank you for reading those off. Let's talk about a few health tips. So setting a bedtime, and don't you feel like a kid when I say that? You need to set a bedtime. Really to see when you need to wake up. We probably all have obligations in the morning that we need to, and count back those 7 or 8 hours, because it's hard to even think about the morning at night sometimes. So count back, and to set that routine during the day or at night. Sometimes it takes us a while to get in that routine and to get our bodies in the mode of it's sleep time. If you have not read the sleep chapter in Dr. A's book, I highly, highly recommend it. It's chapter 17, The Nature's Nurse Sleep. And this is really, these are just like a very few amount that we're going over. So get out of bed, don't check emails, limit caffeine before noon, say no to naps. And in his book, he actually talks about a study about cell phones and the damage that it does to stimulate our minds. And so talk about this with your kids. Make sure that you know of effects. It can actually cause us to not want to sleep an extra it can take us 2 hours to wind down again. So I thought that study was really interesting. And even avoiding exercise in the nighttime if that kind of wires you. And then the last one is habits of motion. And this one is something that you can talk to your healthcare provider about, and even your coach, and kind of see what's right for you. There's so many ways that exercising, but really the biggest thing is that it's not just all about going to the gym. In fact, you can even get an exercise without even putting on your gym shoes. Isn't that cool? There's so many ideas in the Habits of Health book about simply just taking the stairs instead of the elevator, using the can opener, the mechanic one, or the mechanic one instead of the electric one, right? And just simple behaviors like that. He says in his book that you can burn more than 200 extra calories a day with just making a few of those switches. But Dr. A does recommend that we get in 30 minutes a day. That's a lot of people say, like, what's the ideal here? Well, it's up to you, and talk to your doctor about that. But he does recommend generally for a normal, healthy person about 30 minutes a day. So, and coming from, I'm actually a fitness instructor, so I feel super passionate about this, and I just know the benefits of healthy motion. Okay, I want to close with this quote. This to me embodies what we're talking about, everything we're talking about. You'll never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret of your success is found in what? Your daily routine. Your daily routine. So hopefully today we've gone over some of those simple things that we may think, it doesn't make a big difference, right? But remember that chart, those choices, every single one of those dots, that is the secret to your success because it's in your daily routine. I love that. So thank you so much for getting on. I wanted to give a quick announcement about the National Optimal Health Day because it's coming up in 3 weeks. You guys, 3 weeks from today, National Optimal Health Day, September 27th. We will be doing a live broadcast for anybody that wants to join us. And that's going to be on the 27th at 9 p.m. Eastern time. But also we encourage people to do something locally, even if you just wanted to gather your friends, go for a walk. We're having a local event here. We're just going to have a fun get together with our Optavia community. Really, it's just a day to spread health because we know health is contagious. So thank you everyone for hopping on today. And hopefully you have a few ideas for a healthy, happy school year.
The following audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.